Jess Brown-Fuller.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I'm pleased to be able to speak in today's King's Speech debate with the theme backing business to create economic growth. I know from meeting with businesses across my constituency in all fields, be it hospitality and retail, manufacturing, haulage, technology, agriculture and horticulture, or the creative industries, that they are ready, willing and able to play their part in achieving economic growth for this country. But right now, it's hard to see how that will be achieved with their businesses being squeezed from all directions. They are facing rising costs, additional employer national insurance contributions, sky-high energy bills, and a workforce that are struggling to get to the end of the month with anything left in their bank account, because the cost of living crisis is felt acutely in my Chichester constituency that is often described as affluent. In fact, a Resolution Foundation report titled The Slurp Index last month looked at the ratio of average gross hourly earnings to Guinness pint prices and concluded that in somewhere like Trafford, the average median hourly wage will earn you just over 4 pints when you're getting the round in on a Friday. But in Chichester, it doesn't even stretch to 2.5 pints, which would not make you popular with your co-workers. It's half for everyone in Chichester. I'm very sorry. The high costs in Chichester are compounded by the fact that desperately needed improvements to the A27 have been removed entirely from the government's road investment strategy. Without investment, the road will continue to strangle regional trade and competitiveness for Chichester. It feels more and more likely that it's quicker to get around by sea than the roads in my constituency, which brings me on to the Clean Water Bill, which aims to undo years of dissatisfaction in the water industry. Over the weekend, I joined the Surfers Against Sewage Paddle Out protest. Perhaps ironically, we were told not to get in the water because a sewage outflow had discharged into the Solent and the water wasn't safe. It didn't stop us from getting in and highlighting just how important our water is to us in the Chichester constituency, with Chichester Harbour being a national landscape. So this legislation that the government is bringing forward must deliver an overhaul of how our water industry is regulated, starting with the scrapping of Ofwat, a measure that the Liberal Democrats have been calling for since 2022. I hope in this legislation we will see many of the 44 amendments that the Liberal Democrats tabled to the Water Special Measures Bill during the Bill Committee that the government previously chose not to accept. One of those includes a statutory responsibility for water companies to measure the volume of spills they release, rather than the arbitrary measure of time, because this would accurately reflect the actual levels of pollution. This is vital as the Environment Agency looks to enforce stricter targets at wastewater treatment works around my constituency in sensitive areas which have seen high-level pollution, like Bosham and the Harbour, and into the chalk stream, the River Lavant. But in 2024, the River Lavant had a discharge going into it for a total of 285 days. That was counted as one discharge. So we need to know the volume rather than the time spent discharging. This is an issue that fills my inbox because we are passionate in Chichester about our rivers and coastline and national landscape. Another key issue that residents raise with me is the behaviour of rogue property management companies. Chichester residents are living in properties where the verge is not maintained, saplings are dropped into holes in the ground and left to die before being removed 6 months later for the whole process to start again. Residents describe management companies as faceless, with non-existent customer service, except when they are told that their service charge is increasing exponentially. This has led, in some cases, to residents moving from the homes they fought so hard to purchase because they can no longer afford to live there. In the Common Hold and Leasehold Reform Bill, the government has the opportunity to tackle this issue head-on by regulating these companies effectively and putting a cap. I'll happily give way to the honourable gentleman.
Lady, I met residents at Georgian Court in Spalding a day or two ago. They live in a McCarthy and Stone home, and their freeholder has put up their ground rent by almost 100%. It's exactly the kind of thing that the honourable lady is drawing the House's attention to, and it must be dealt with in the bill that's coming up in the Queen's Speech.
I thank the honourable gentleman for his intervention, and by regulating these companies effectively and putting a cap on these excessive service charges, particularly when there's no evidence that the service is actually being delivered, would really change the game for a lot of these people that feel trapped in the estates that they're on. I have met with the Housing Minister and shared my residents' accounts with him, and I hope this piece of legislation that's being brought forward will start to address that. As has been seen throughout the country in the recent local elections and current polling, the government has failed to seize the initiative when it comes to the direction of the economy. People wanted change, but they are still being left wanting. There was much in the King's speech that my constituents hope will make a difference to them, whether in relation to the matters I've brought up, or the police bill, the ticket tout bill, or the European Partnership bill. However, many will be concerned that, and quite rightly, given the record of this government, these reforms will once again either be U-turned or fudged. I hope they are wrong, but I will of course continue to work for my constituents in Chichester to ensure that their concerns are properly represented.
Ali.